Hello Internet, my name is Brink and welcome to my quick start guides. Today we're taking a look at the Guardian Druid rotation. This isn't a full deep dive, see it as a core rotation guide, providing you with the foundation you need and help you understand how the spec works, so you can get quickly comfortable at the start of the new expansion. No homework, no spreadsheets, just the important knowledge you need to start tanking with confidence. If you do enjoy this guide and would like to see a talent guide or a more in-depth guide of the Guardian Druid, make sure to press like on this video. If this video reaches 500 likes, I will create a more in-depth guide of the Guardian. For this video, we'll be focusing strictly on the Druid of the Claw rotation and how it works together with a few important talents. This way you can get a clear understanding of what is happening and why. New talents that impact your rotation. On the class side of the tree. Well, the first one doesn't really have a huge impact on your rotation, but I do feel it's worth mentioning. It is well-honed instincts. When you fall below 40% health, you cast Frenzied Regen, and you can get this cooldown lowered to once every 90 seconds. With the next one, Perfectly Honed Instincts. A really nice defensive to have. On the spec side, a few talents that can affect your rotation and are important to be aware of. These are the following. The first one you're always going for is Gore. Fresh, Swipe, Moonfire and Maul have 50% chance to reset the cooldown on Mangle and cause it to generate 4 rage extra. Casting more Mangles means more rage, so that proc is really nice to have. So basically this talent is already telling you to keep all these abilities flowing, as you always want to be pressing something. Now the spec tree is kinda interesting. There are two obvious builds. I can actually see it branching into different playstyles. You either embrace the way of the laser on the right side of the tree, that fits a Loon chosen hero talent tree for sure, or you can go the way of the bleeds, more on the left side of the tree. And this one is a perfect match for the Druid of the Claw. So like I said, for the Druid of the Claw, I myself would go for the full bleed build, in which you do use Moonfire pure as a ranged pulling tool, and also Lunar Beam. In the beta, some dropped the Last Wild Guardian talent point to put in Galactic Guardian instead. It's an interesting choice to go for. People way smarter than me will calculate what's best, but it's good to have these options. And now going for more synergies with your bleed abilities. You pick things like Vulnerable Flesh to improve raise damage, and Killing Blow, like the name suggests, do a whopping 75% more damage. Harnessed Rage. Mangle has one additional charge, and when Maul is cast at 80 rage or above, it activates Gore. On the class side, Berserk is now a 1 talent point node. It reduces the cooldown of Mangle, Fresh and Growl by 50% and the cooldown of Frenzied Regeneration by 100%. This still makes you an Uber Bear on a 3-minute cooldown. More on defensive cooldowns later. Then Incarnation, replacing Berserk with a stronger version. Your Mangle hits up to 3 targets now and you gain more health. And last but not least, Ursoc Guidance, that can lower your cooldown. Every 25 rage you spend, you lower it by 1 second. It's always nice to have a cooldown reduction like this. Now for the hero talents. Just a small word about the shapeshifting fantasy. What the Druid of the Claw hero build was all about. Well, there isn't much left of that fantasy. I would be so bold to say shapeshifting between Guardian and Feral during fights is a bit overrated and not mandatory to achieve. I mean, it's doing so low damage in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it's worth doing. Yes, you can go Wild Power Surge. This talent incentivizes you to switch to Feral after reaching a certain number of stacks, but the damage you get from swapping to cat form every few minutes just to use Ferocious Bite can't compete with the 25% increased Mangle damage from its counterpart on this choice node. So you're basically jumping through all these hoops, taking all that extra risk for shapeshifting and getting nothing in return. So my current advice would be stick to Guardian form and try to get as many Ravages as possible. The Druid of the Claw reinforces Guardian's feral roots by learning hard into Ravage procs, faster attacks and Berserk synergy, without changing the core Guardian playstyle. The tree focuses on turning Maul into Ravage, rewarding sustained combat with frequent damage spike and extra rage generation. Overall, it adds more engaging damage moments and a satisfying bleed heavy option with a cool animation that in my opinion the Guardian could definitely use, while still feeling unmistakably like a Guardian Druid. Now for the Apex talents. Apex talents add Wild Guardian, letting you choose the timing when to amplify both defense and damage after using Berserk or Incarnation. Wild Guardian echoes important survival and damage abilities. It boosts mastery and empowers Maul or Rise over time, creating a short but impactful moment of control. Overall, the Apex talent complement both Guardian playstyles, adding a bit more defensive cooldowns to be used on a more regular basis, keeping you busy and more engaging on every pull. This adds more survivability and visual flair while keeping the core gameplay the same. In the beta, some dropped the Last Wild Guardian talent point to put in Galactic Guardian instead. It's an interesting choice to go for. People way smarter than me will calculate what's best, but it's good to have these options. Understanding the rotation. Instead of me explaining a fixed order of buttons to press, I feel that it's way more useful to understand the meaning of the rotation and what it is you're trying to accomplish. Let's start with explaining the basic first. Your mastery is important, so let's start here. It increases your maximum health and healing received, and also your attack power. You have one resource, rage, and just one rage bar to keep an eye on. You have abilities that generate rage and abilities that cost rage. You generate with Mangle and Thrash, and spend it on defensive abilities like Iron Fur and Frenzied Regeneration. Use these to keep you alive. Dots, or bleeds for that matter. You have 3 damage over time dots to track. A dot from Moonfire just does damage, and a bleed from Trash just does damage, and Dreadful Wounds from Ravage also does damage, and it lowers incoming damage. So keep these dots up at all times. And when there's nothing else to do, you have a filler, Swipe, that doesn't cost nor generates rage. So these are your core abilities for your rotation. The main rule or mindset to have is the following: avoid wasting rage, and make sure you spend rage intentional. Your priority being raise or maul, do damage and get your absorb shield up from Dreadful Wounds by pressing Ravage. Be sure to track it, it's too good to pass on. And then make sure you have at least 1 stack of Iron Fur up. The armor of Iron Fur does stack and overlap, so it's not wrong to have more stacks. But there's no need to spam it, or to try to keep up 5 stacks like you did in the past. Keep abilities on cooldown, cast Mangle and Thrash on cooldown. Whenever unavailable, cast fillers. Your filler priority being Maul, Moonfire, Swipe. Utilize procs and cooldowns. Incarnation, Guardian of Ursoc, is cast on cooldown, roughly every 120 seconds, just before picking up a big pack. The same goes for Wild Guardian. Lunar Beam increases your mastery, so you get more health and more healing. Also important procs to use is your Ravage, for that absorb shield. So, as an opener, from a distance, cast Moonfire as your pull ability. Charge in with Wild Charge, and start your opener or rotation with Mangle. It has 2 charges, so get that rolling. Thrash for more rage and adding your bleed. Then cast Ravage for your last dot. Congratulations, you applied all your 3 important dots. That's your pull right there. Now you start playing your minigame. Start rotating your abilities. Mangle, Thrash, Ravage, or if it doesn't proc, Maul. If everything is on the global cooldown, and you feel like you have nothing to press, even not an Iron Fur, then feel free to either cast Swipe as your filler or reapply your Moonfire dot. Everything is at play now. Your dots are rolling, you're generating rage, and your Iron Fur is up. And once you get the hang of this, you can start adding cooldowns. Your first cooldown being Incarnation. When using Incarnation, your cooldowns will get reduced by this, and so your rotation can be done faster. Start doing your damage abilities, as Mangle now hits more targets, and maintain your Iron Fur, and press Frenzied Regeneration. When you get further in the fight, and the situation is needed that you need more heals, it's your perfect time to press Wild Guardian. This empowers everything you do even more. You can cast Frenzied Regens, Iron Furs, and spread your bleeds with Ravage and do more damage with Maul. Guardian cooldowns. So we just went over your important cooldowns. You want to spread out these big cooldowns. Don't blow them all at once in one pack. Think ahead. With Incarnation and Wild Guardian, you got a lot of survivability. We also spoke about Lunar Beam. Weave that in when you feel like it's needed. As you can see, these cooldowns are being used defensively as well as offensively. They're definitely tools to be used defensively, as they will keep you strong and alive. There are a few more defensive cooldowns that you can use to keep yourself alive. The first being Survival Instinct. 2 charges on a 2.5 minute cooldown, lowering damage intake by 60%. This is huge, so don't sit on this too long. Use it. You don't have 2 charges for nothing. And then you have Barkskin, reducing damage you take by 30%, increasing healing by 20% on a 34-second cooldown, lasting for 14 seconds. Use these defensive tools wisely but often, and start timing them better and better as you learn their encounters. And there you have it, that's the full breakdown. Keep this cycle going and you'll be maximizing both your damage and survivability. And don't worry if you feel like you're making small mistakes, it usually won't be a big issue. Earlier I mentioned a Moonfire heavy, laser focused approach when playing Druid of the Claw. The talent build shown here is simply the most popular one on Archon right now, but don't feel locked into it. Feel free to adjust your talents to better suit your playstyle or the situation you're in. From what I've seen, these changes shouldn't have any real impact on the rotation. It's time to wrap things up. There's honestly a lot more we could talk about with the Guardian Druid. This class also has a lot of utilities like Stampeding Roar, a combat res and more. So the Guardian Druid is definitely worth a deep dive. Smash that like button and I will provide you with one. For now, we covered a lot, just going over your core rotation. So we're going to end it here. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, drop a comment below and let me know. With all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching this video and until next time, Brinks out.